Hello ladies and gentlemen cars, and welcome to the beginning of our F126 MyTeam career. This is going to be a continuation of our F125 MyTeam career, so if you haven't watched it yet, I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description if you want to go and watch it. When we ended our 25 MyTeam, we had two drivers, Paul Aron and Nikola Solov. And going into 26, I was hoping to stick with the same driver lineup. However, since Aron isn't available as an F2 driver, I decided to go with Luke Browning. He had a pretty impressive rookie season in F2 last year, where he fought for the championship. However, he unfortunately was unable to keep up with Fornaroli. I'm honestly shocked he isn't in F2 in the current year. As for Solov, he's currently in the runnings for F2 champion, and he was also the runner-up for the F3 championship. He scored multiple podiums with us last year, so why wouldn't we keep him as a driver? Anyways, since this is a continuation of the 25 season, I wanted to keep a similar R&D performance that we had at the end of last year, around the middle of the pack. However, when I selected the some development option when creating the career, it actually put us as the second best car. So to compensate for that, I've upped the difficulty by a few points, going from 98 to 108. Now let's get on to the race calendar. We're only going to have 16 races, as 24 was just too much for me to handle last season. We'll start off in Australia, where last year we raced as Paul Aron, starting P14 and made our way into the points. However, we slowly fell backwards, where we finished only P11, just under a second behind Izek Hadjar in P10. We'll then be skipping China, as it's a sprint race and not really a track that I enjoy. But last year we raced as Franco Colapinto, where a spin by Lewis Hamilton in the sprint caused a massive pileup, where we were able to drive around the outside of it and score our first points of the career. The feature race, however, went pretty poorly, as we had a crash with Jack Doohan and gained a 10-second penalty. Then we'll go to Japan. Last season we raced as Paul Aron, where a collision with Doohan gave us damage to the underbody, and it pretty much ended our race there. We'll skip Bahrain and Jeddah, as in real life both races were cancelled, but last season in Bahrain we pulled off a one-stop as Franco Colapinto, scoring a P7 finish. And in Jeddah, there was a weird bug with the safety car, allowing us to score our first podium of the career with Paul Aron. We will also be skipping Miami. It's another sprint race and my least favorite track of the Americas. Last season we raced with a special pink, white, and blue livery inspired by the Miami Vice colors. In the sprint, Charles Leclerc had a spin and caused yet another pileup. We went around the outside of it again, and we scored another handful of points. We'll go on to Canada, which has been moved to before Monaco instead of after it. But after a lap-by-lap fight with Nico Hülkenberg, our new driver Nikola Solov was able to score his first points in the career. Here is where Imola would be, however, since it was replaced by the new circuit in Madrid, there will be no Imola. But last season we had a little fight with our team rivals RB and beat Liam Lawson for a P9 finish. We'll head to the crown jewel of Formula 1 in Monaco next. Last year we started all the way down in P16, but with some undercuts and good overtakes we made our way all the way up to P6. The first of two tracks in Spain is next, with Barcelona. Last year we had some tragic news that our driver Franco Colapinto was leaving the team and replacing Jack Doohan at Alpine. So we replaced him with F3 vice champion Nikola Solov. If you're curious of how I was able to do a mid-season driver change in vanilla F125 with no mods, you'll have to go check out the video in the playlist in the description. We head to Austria next, where we managed to get our first pole position as Paul Aron. However, we were only able to score a P2 finish. We'll then go on to the second sprint race of the season at Silverstone, and it's best if we don't talk about what happened there last season. The iconic Spa-Francorchamps circuit in Belgium is next, where in the sprint it was a dry to wet condition race, and we scored our first sprint win of the career. The race was the opposite, as it started wet and ended dry, and we scored another P5 finish. After that, we'll go to Hungary, followed by the final sprint race in Zandvoort. Monza will be after that, and then we'll race at the brand new circuit in Madrid. We'll race at Azerbaijan, and we will be skipping Singapore. We then go on to our home race in Austin. Last year we ran a special home race livery with a massive white star on the side of it. In the sprint we scored a P6, while in the race we scored yet another podium as Paul Aron, beginning our redemption arc. We'll continue on to Mexico. Last year we scored Solov's first podium here, and we'll finish the season off at Interlagos in Brazil. Last year we scored a podium in the sprint, and in the feature we got our first ever race win as Paul Aron. Because Interlagos is our final race, we will not have Vegas, Qatar, or Abu Dhabi. So, short recap, Vegas we got a podium as Nicholas Olive, Qatar we got podiums as Paul Aron in both the sprint and the feature races. Finally, in Abu Dhabi, our podium streak was broken as we gained wing damage from Yuki Tsunoda and were unable to recover as we finished in P7. Anyways, that's about it for this long season recap. Let's get into qualifying. In qualifying 1, Oscar Piastri topped the timings, while we got to P5 as Luke Browning, and our teammate Nicholas Olive got up to P7. This P7 was false hope, however, as in qualifying 2, Olive was down in P16 and eliminated. For us, however, we continue on to Q3 with a time that put us up to P6, with Lando Norris up at the top. Finally, in qualifying 3, I was actually faster on the medium compound than I was on the softs, which I found odd, and we will start the race from P8. Lando Norris on pole with Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc behind him.
The wait is over. Hello everyone and welcome to the 2026 Formula One season. We have new teams, new drivers and a sea change in the regulations. The biggest that Formula One has ever seen. It's unpredictable and it starts right now. We first raced here in Albert Park back in 1996. It's 3.2 miles, 14 turns now instead of the original 16, part of a larger redevelopment to encourage overtaking. The drivers enjoyed it in 2022. It retains the landmarks, the bumps, the challenge, but there's more opportunity to attack with those 5 corners to the left and the 9 to the right. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Russell, Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Hadjar, Sainz, Browning, Gasly, and Nico Hülkenberg, Ocon, Antonelli, Fernando Alonso, and Albon, Solov, Lawson, Franco Colapinto, and Valtteri Bottas. Stroll, Behrman, Perez, Lindblad, Bortoletto, and Max Verstappen completes the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Well, what a race we have in prospect. Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Joining me is Naomi Schiff. First race of 2026 then, and we have 3 brand new teams on the grid. How is this going to change things?
First of all, this is such an exciting time. But for them today, I guess you would be really nervous. It's the first time you're going to be doing this. There is so much to learn. But at the end of the day, they've got to remember that expectations aren't that high. They've all been there before. They've all had their first race, and no one is expecting them to land on the top of the podium. So just learn to walk before you can run.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Alrighty, 20 laps, 10 on mediums, 10 on hards. Let's go. Alright, here we go for our first race of the season. That's 5 red lights. And away we go. Let's try and get the jump on Sainz immediately as soon as we can. Let's get around the outside, or inside of Hadjar. Oh, there's Sainz. Through we go. Up to P6 we go. Past both Hadjar and Sainz. Get the car stopped. Okay. I wasn't planning on making a move on Hamilton there, but I broke way too late into that corner. Ever so slightly bumped the wall there. Able to immediately get the move on Hamilton out of that corner. Never mind. My battery is already down in the 20s. It's gonna take a few races until I get used to the way that the battery works. Hamilton and Russell are going at it. Let's try and get the jump on Hamilton. I might also be able to get Russell here. Into the corner we go. And we're ahead. Oh geez, my battery's already at 0%. Through both of them go. I'm going to try and defend against Hamilton. Hold this P5 position. I'm going to try and stick with Hamilton and Russell here. Hope that they fight each other so we can pass both of them like we did earlier. Although I think earlier was just from a huge boost in power that I wasn't expecting. Science and Hajar are fighting behind, so that gives us a bit of a breathing space. Right, let's see where Solov is.
Gap to your teammate behind, 4.5 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. They're in 13th place.
13th, alright.
Last lap, 1:23.2.
There goes Hamilton. Around the outside of Russell. Let's see if we can also make a move happen. There we go. Up to P5. Hamilton goes defensive on us. Oh jeez, almost slammed into the back of him. But we make a position. I think that we finished the 25 career fighting against Russell and Hamilton. So it's kind of poetic that we're fighting with them again in the opening here in 26. Here we go, trying to make the move on Hamilton. I don't have any battery to do it though. Brake later. Alright, there we go, up to P4. Despite having 0 battery, I was able to stay with him. Now he's going to be able to come back on us. There comes Russell as well on our inside. Hamilton loses the back end of it. We're able to keep P5 from Russell. Here comes Russell back on us. Little bit of bumps. Antonelli's made his way up to P7 though. Might be a bit until he catches us. Very late defense from Russell there. Let's try and get past him here. Alright, up to P5 we go once again. Oh, I went a bit too deep. He's still on our outside. That's a yellow flag. It's a mechanical failure or something from up ahead. It's Leclerc. Leclerc is out in the opening round in Australia. That's up to P4 we go. I think that held Russell up a bit. Russell's dropped back. So I've just lost overtaking mode. It's Russell into the pits. I wonder if Russell got wing damage from slamming into the back of Leclerc.
We're approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time. Come on, mate, you're down by 8/10 a lap. What have you got?
8/10. Oh, that's touching the grass.
Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 6.6 seconds. They're on old mediums. They're 8.
Yes. Alright, well Solov is an 8th. We might be able to get our first we might be able to get our first double points of this career. Just as long as he stays ahead of that pack there. We're finally caught up to Hamilton though. Hajar fighting with Antonelli. Giving us even more breathing space.
In this lap, push now.
So we're going to be boxing this lap. Make the move on Hamilton. Up to P3 we go. We might be able to get Luke Browning's first podium in here as well. If we're lucky enough. If we can stay ahead of Hamilton. And then here we go. In for our first pit. Into the pit lane we go. Hamilton staying out. Solov up to P5.
Look after these tyres now. You want to finish the race on this compound.
We're well ahead of Russell. So I'm assuming that Russell did get wing damage. You go Solov into the pits.
Right, Nicola's in the pits.
See where we come out in comparison to Hamilton. And we're ahead of him. We're going to be right behind Piastri as well. Oh, that's Norris. Oh, Piastri pit first? I thought Norris pit first, but I guess Norris pit now. we're fighting for P2 with Norris. Around the outside of Norris. Up to P2. Might be able to fight back though. Yep, there he is. Just back and forth, back and forth. Check on Solov.
15.1 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. They're in 12th.
Dang, went from 8th to 12th from pitting. Jeez. It's weird. Areas where you would expect to gain on them with battery, you don't gain on them much. But areas where you wouldn't expect to gain on them, you gain on them quite a bit. Like a little stretch in between Sector 1 and Sector 2. Oh, Norris lost back in there. Like, you gain on them so much there. That's yet another mechanical failure in Sector 3. I think that's a Aston or an Audi. It's an Audi. I think that's Borletto. Yep, Borletto's out of the session. And so this area here, you just gain on them so much. Yeah, I'll take it. It lines up a nice overtake on Norris, but it's really odd. He's going to be able to get the run on me again here.
Yellow flag.
It's a yellow flag, so I can't really fight it.
Okay, clear.
Jeez, we immediately lost Norris out of that yellow flag. Hamilton's just about caught back up with us again. So the this fight, what am I saying? So the fight for this P3 position is back on. He might be able to get me here. Not quite. Oh, he did a late lunge into the corner. Alright, 2 more laps. Here comes Hamilton. Not enough road to make the move happen. May be able to get us here though. Still nothing, okay. Here he comes to our outside. There he goes, up to that P3 position. We're gonna fight for it though. Too wide through the chicane, up onto the curb. Ah, he still gets it though. Alright, but here we go though, final lap of the race. We can get him here. Around the outside, side by side through the chicane. Through we go. There he goes to our inside. Try and get him here. Not enough battery, dang. So close though. Come on, I'm gonna push for it. Alright, well as we come out of the final corner trailing Hamilton, that is Oscar Piastri with the win. Lando Norris P2. And that is us just short of Hamilton for that last podium position.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
Heading to the top step of the podium one more time, Oscar Piastri takes the victory.
Well, they kept us guessing during pre-season testing. We all wondered who it was going to be, and to have them drawn out here today, that they are the ones to beat, just goes to show that all the work they put in has really counted.
The top three have scrapped on the racetrack. They will now line up next to each other, the best of this race. And it's special for Piastri back on the top step. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Alright then, that is the end of the first race here in Australia. Piastri with the win, Norris P2, Hamilton P3, ourselves as Luke Browning, P4, Dennis Hadjar Antonelli, Verstappen from last on the grid up to P7, Russell from P4 down to P8, Albon P9, and Nikola Solov, our teammate, finished P10. That is the first time in our career that we have gotten a double points finish. Leclerc and Bortoleto obviously with DNFs. And as for the standings, Piastri obviously takes the lead, 7 points ahead of Norris, and McLaren take the lead in constructors. And we are just a singular point ahead of Mercedes. But anyways, that'll be it for this video. Hopefully you've all enjoyed. If you have, you drop a like, maybe subscribe or something, I don't know. And I will see you next time for Suzuka.